Their oldest child then was Uncle Pete?
No, Uncle Cardon.
Uncle Cardon, okay. So I didn't know him very well. I don't remember him.
Uncle Cardon. Uncle Linwood.
Yeah, that's right.
Me Dusky. And then Brother Pete. Then Dixie. John Mack. Now there's a boy, baby, stillborn baby twin, John Mack and I. Then your granddaddy. Then Uncle Judd. Then the Triplets was born, 3 boys. They lived all for, I had 4 or 5 weeks old there. One of them died. But honey, just for the will of God, I guess, to live way off out in the country, that's where we live. I remember when they was born.
And that was then Spunky and Bill?
Yeah, that's when they were born. The little country doctor bought a suitcase with him in a suitcase.
I never did know Uncle Cardon or Uncle Linwood that much. What do you remember about them?
I had altogether 2 different types. Cardon, he went to that McAllen Academy. That was the beginning of A&M, I believe. And they moved it to wherever.
Brian?
Yeah.
College Judson?
Yeah, I think so. Kyle McCadden. Well, Linwood, he didn't take the schooling. Cardon did, and he got a job in post office. So he was uptown boy. He'd buy a Kodak, take pictures.
Uncle Cardon was an uptown boy and take pictures?
Yeah, he got a picture, a couple of little niggers there, just about size as Judson. He took that down to Steenville, and boy, they didn't allow niggers up there by a pan. He wrote Harry on one of them and Judson on another and set that picture up there. Oh, they thought that was so funny. Miss Masterson, the old lady, I guess she couldn't see good. Well, I put her close, and Mother showing her picture, says, here's a picture of her and Judson. Well, we never did like Aunt Mary after that. She looked at that picture, Lolly Clark said, don't they look natural?
Oh, my goodness. And you didn't take that as a joke.
No,
that's serious, huh?
I thought that was about the funnest thing. I'd just tell it over and over.
Is that when you got your first car? I think I remember Uncle Cardon coming, when he became a city boy, did he get a car and come out to see you? What's your first thought when we talk about Aunt Ducky?
Well, really, it's hard to answer except in this way. But it was Martha and Mary.
Mm-hmm.
She referred to Dusky as Martha. Martha is one that washed Jesus' hair, wasn't it? And put the ornament on him. They got after for being so crazy.
I think she poured her perfume on his feet.
Yeah.
While Martha was working in the kitchen.
And entertained company, and Martha was working in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So Mother talked to the neighbors and Ken about them being Martha. And she didn't mind it, that Dusky didn't have the kitchen for Dixie was good. Dixie was helper.
It's good help.
Dusky then trying to come in, and we always got lots of company.
Were you surprised that Aunt Ducky never got married?
Well, yes and no.
She had a boyfriend one time, didn't she?
I think she had a boyfriend in that San Antonio, that Abilene, a doctor. And he died of consumption.
Is he the one that had given her a ring that she always wore?
Yeah. And I don't think she ever loved anybody else but him.
But him. Well, you know how these Hewitts go. I mean, they love a lot when they love, and it's hard to find somebody.
I imagine that's what she got to be.
From him? She was a nurse there. she liked a little bit getting her RN degree, or did she get her RN
I
degree?
thought she had an RN.
Well, I remember Aunt Ducky. I tell you, she had pretty clothes, and she had a car, and she smoked cigarettes. And when I was a little girl, not many women smoked cigarettes.
How did she have a natural ability for colors and making things pretty? You wouldn't believe it till you see it. She could get out and tell it. Them old white weeds, you know, blue and red balls on them, pull up a few tumbling weeds.
She was very creative.
Yeah, and pick out a stalk of maize or something, get that all together. That'd make the most beautiful thing you could think of, you know. Very, very creative. She had a natural ability that couldn't be beat.
Well, you know, when Uncle Judd was sick, and I was taking Aunt Ducky to the hospital to see her one day, Aunt Ducky was crying because she knew that she was dying, and she told me that nobody loved her, not really, family. I mean, I think she just felt an emptiness because she didn't have children. And I told her that, and it made her feel good, that in her career as a nurse, that many people had loved her. When you're very ill, and the nurses that care for you have a special place in your heart for a long time, and that made her feel better, I think. At least it seemed to at the time.
She was dying TB and wouldn't let us know it. She wanted to outlive Judson.
Yes, that's right.
She just did.
Just barely did. And Uncle Judd was so special. What do you think of when you think of Uncle Pete? What's the first thought?
As a discipline.
Uncle Pete was a disciplinarian.
Yeah, he was sort of dad and mother both to me on down. He couldn't do much for Uncle John. But he conquered Judson.
Uncle John was too close to his age for him to handle, but you were all young.
He'd go by the Woodruff boy.
Okay, but he treated Uncle Pete treated Uncle Judd the same way he did you.
Yeah. But that was mine.
Were you surprised that Uncle Pete never married? Were you surprised that Uncle Pete did not ever get married?
Well, yes and no. I never did know the truth about Uncle Pete. But one of the girls, she's the older sister of Tommy Roberts. Pete was just crazy about her. Pete was just up about 14, 15. She I think, hurt herself somewhere or another and died of inflammation of the bowels or something like that.
And you think that he really loved her and that maybe he never got over that?
I think so.
Well, let's, when did Uncle Pete first begin to get interested in being a school teacher?
I don't know. I guess it's for money. I know he gone down to Fort Worth, see if he could get a job in the bank. There's a bank down there advertising. And he's supposed to get in that big bank. Somebody recommended to him, Mr. Bennett, superintendent, I believe. He took a $5 bill with him, I believe it was. That's about as big as 50 now. They went over to play to eat. He sat there, he's a little girl waiting on him. His lunch would come for about 35, 40 cents, I imagine. He'd give her that $5 bill. She never did show up no more.
You're kidding.
That's the country boy out there in town.
She didn't give him any change, huh?
No, she didn't wait for change. She just stayed off of it. Or she kept it on.
I think Aunt Dixie's kind of a motherly type.
Yeah, but, honey, you wouldn't know her when she's a kid. She's the biggest tomboy to ever live.
Aunt Dixie?
She'd jump over a high bluff as we boys would and climb a tree as high. ride a horse as fast.
Is that right?
You betcha.
What do you think of when I say Uncle John? What do you remember about Uncle John?
Uncle John Mack?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was sort of a loner. He'd go for some of them back, well back in the woods from where we live. They were sure enough river boys. John Mack would go home with them and hunt wolves. They had hounds. They'd get out and run those hounds all night. Now, John fell for such as that. He likes to hunt. Those dogs, they'd run all night long sometimes.
Daddy, what do you remember most about Uncle Judd?
Oh, we just won. Same as won all the time. All through our lives. And then after we married, we'd confer with one another. Very confidential things we wouldn't talk to anybody else about. Something happened to one we had to go to talk to. That's where I missed him the most. I didn't have anybody to go talk to like that. Uncle Pete was pretty good to counsel with, but nothing like Judd and I counseling for others.
Because Uncle Judd and you had a lot more in common, both of you being farmers.
We had plenty in common.
Mm-hmm. Terry said a while ago that you got down to where the Triplets were born. Now
I should have told. They were born actually moved up to Lypang. Father sold his dairy out Bradshaw place out at Streetville. Bought land out 3 miles north of Lypang. And in about a year, the Triplets was born. Those 3 boys was way off out in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And little old country doctor, he just had a suitcase, had medicine in that suitcase. But as luck had had it, there's a big stout woman, I thought she lived about half a mile, but she lived about 300 yards from our place. She had a young baby. I remember her well. She was a big skinny, like I bet she weighed 170, 80 pounds. This big old.
She was a healthy lady, huh?
Yeah, big healthy lady. And they got her down there to help suckle those kids. Might not have raised any of them, haven't they?
I think they call that a wet nurse. I think that the aristocratic people used to have a wet nurse.
Well,
to help take care of. But this was just a friendly neighbor, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what brought the kids through. I guess Father Peter, I don't know about that. I know they got to come down there and make Peter. And honey, I remember just as well as yesterday watching that woman eat. You can't believe that. Oh, anything she liked.
Your mother fed her if she'd come help her feed the baby.
Yeah, that Peter helped her give milk.
And Aunt Dixie was telling me the other day that Aunt Becky was pretty upset when she found out they had 3 babies. And she said 3 ugly words, didn't she?
We don't know what's that in there.
We don't tell that on there. No, we don't. But somebody said Aunt Becky just named them. But it didn't take her long till she learned she loved those babies.
That's right. That's right.
Because I think she was fonder of Bill and Spunky than she was anybody else.
Well, honey, you can't imagine the excitement when Triplets was born. That's the first one. They come from miles.
To see Triplets.
See Triplets, you know. They stays there, they just come there all out in front of the house everywhere. Come see those Triplets. I told you, about Teddy Roosevelt was president then, and he wrote Father a personal letter, in longhand, congratulating him on those Triplets. And by George, we've lost that letter somewhere. I wouldn't take $1,000 for it.
Oh, Daddy, that letter would be worth several $1,000.
I've read a 90. Vader might have got off that. I don't know. I don't mean to be accused. Somebody surely didn't burn it up. They still be laid up somewhere.
Somebody may not know that it's an authentic letter from the president, Daddy. They may not realize what it is. And it may be put up somewhere in a box of old papers and somebody just threw it away and burned it.
Then it still could be laying up.
It still could be.
It's gone.
But your mother had 8 living children, and she had 3 children that died when she had these 3. So that's a lot of babies for.
Yeah.
Tell me about Uncle Bill and Uncle Spunky when they were little boys. What kind of little boys were they?
They were good boys.
They were good boys.
They sure were. Spunky, on the little boy, mother died, he caused me to get the hardest whooping I ever got.
Uncle Bill did?
Mother whipped me, yeah. He had dress on. I guess he's 2 or 4 years old.
Uncle Bill had a dress on?
Yeah. There were dresses up about that big. He stepped on Grassburg, holding his foot up, crying. Mother hollered him, said, get that sticker out of his foot. I said, he can do it himself. I told him, I said, you get that sticker off. Mother said, you get that sticker out of that child's foot. I said, I'm not going to do it. He didn't do that. My Lord.
Your mother actually took a...
She tore the butt off of it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That warped your personality a little bit, I imagine. Well, listen.
Personality could be warped. She warped it.
What about Uncle Spunky now? It's always been a lesson to me. When your dad wouldn't let you help him get up.
You see, he had infant paralysis about that time, about 3 or 4 years old. I saw him when he fell. He'd just been playing everything, started running across the floor and fell right out in the middle.
That's when he got sick with polio. Did he nearly die?
He got awful sick, but then when he got well, he couldn't even crawl.
It left him crippled.
But he got where he could crawl. He'd crawl around on the floor, and he got where he'd get the chair, he'd put up on his chair. And Father made him proud of those crutches. He wore those crutches for a while, he walked the crutches. He finally just threw them away. Running around Father.
But he was still lame.
A horrible cripple up right foot, the heel drawed up 4 or 5 inches, I guess, off the floor. And he slung that foot out, walked sort of sideways, a big dot on top of the foot, instep there. And that stayed that way till he took his growth, I guess. He was about 14 years old. And Scott and White down in Temple, I believe it was, Dallas, I guess. They cut that hamstring back there where they could pull his foot down. To pull his foot up, they had to cut off some leaders here, make them shorter. They bobbed them off and they spliced his hamstring. But the leaders they cut off here.
So his foot wouldn't drop so much.
Then they cut his top of his foot open this way and the other way, and chiseled that big piece of bone off of the top instep. Then they split his heel open this way and peeled that back and grafted this bone that's cut off the top of his foot on the bottom of his heel, what they call blocking. Made that all grow. So he had a straight foot.
Then.
Yeah. From then on, but it never was too big. He was very lame, but it was straight.
But what I remember you saying was that when he would fall, your daddy wouldn't let you help him get up.
Oh, no. Father had a lot of common sense, well, extraordinary brains. That treatment, I forget what you call it now, known for treating polio with. Father gave that treatment not knowing nothing about it. They didn't know it.
Right, therapy?
Yeah. Father gave Spunky his own therapy. got him well.
That was so good, though, that your dad would not let you all baby him, make him do for himself.
I guess Spunky appreciates that more than anything else.
Because it would have been so easy for all of the big brothers and sisters to...
But we naturally wanted one to get him up when it fell. All of us wanted him to get up on his own if he could.
That's good.